The director just resigned.
Do you feel that you've given in? That you've been defeated here? That
part of me does, yes. But they start showing up at your house, guns on their hips and Bible tracts in their hands.
Activists demanding that the library ban more than 400 books, like genderqueer.
Another unnecessary casualty of the radical Christian right culture war against the Bill of Rights. Freedom to these maniacs is an exclusive privilege just left up to the whims of angry parents. Thinly veiled threats of violence at library board meetings, talking about the ultimate penalty of God's punishing judgment.
Things need to change. Otherwise, you bring curses upon yourselves, period. From the Most High.
And people carrying guns using targeted comments like, even if we don't do anything to you.
Even if we do nothing to you, eventually, if you don't repent of wanting to harm our children with pornography, that's up to God.
This primitive, unchristian behavior is what happens when paranoia steamrolls logic in a society that loves being able to shoot stuff. The purported villain, a librarian, gets driven away by threats over the removal of books that aren't in her library.
are any of those books in the library?
Not a single one.
And that vacuum is left for any crazy bigot to fill. And to the untrained eye, it appears that the librarian was distributing inappropriate material. She wouldn't leave her job unless she knew what she was doing was wrong, right? The perception of what's happening in our libraries has already been agreed upon by the radical Christian right, because it keeps getting floated around in right-wing media that books on sex ed, tolerance, diversity of human experience, and the racial context of America, which we know is there, are putting unclean thoughts in underage heads.
We've all sensed for quite some time that there was a left-wing tilt in our schools. But when our team, guided by David Goodwin, started digging deeper, we uncovered a full-blown 100-year progressive plot to indoctrinate our kids and remake our civilization.
For too many years, the right has abandoned their moral high ground on such matters in order to accept the opposing side's lies about there being some magical, value-neutral space to discuss important issues without any hearkening back to religious or traditional principles.
While we were busy raising families and fighting wars and protecting free markets as conservatives, the left was hard at work burrowing into our educational institutions from the highest levels now to the local levels.
But that's changing, finally. Some parents have had enough of this.
And the children, doesn't matter the age, are the perfect victims to use. Yes, I said use. Children are vulnerable to indoctrination because they're eager to learn. Children haven't made up their minds about their identity and personal ideology yet. Children are the future. Children have parents who worry about their well-being and will respond to threats to their safety with any means necessary. Children are a protected population in society, even by non-parents, and are an incredible vessel to filter right-wing ideology through. So what can everyday public servants do when 20 angry adults come to their place of business or home, armed and threatening them to fix a problem that never existed? It's too late to fight the perceived threat because angry and violent people believe it, they're at your door, so the librarian, like many today, has to lose their income or risk their own safety. Absolutely tragic. On a larger scale, the baseless lie of public schools and libraries secretly grooming kids spreads. No one bothers to check. These reactionary for the sake of attention Christian activists gain more local authority.
My recommendation, now that they call everybody domestic terrorists, is just keep plugging and throw these guys out. Just vote them out, take it over, and then you do the curriculum.
Tucker Carlson and the other bigoted liars get rich off some propaganda they'll never be challenged on.
There is absolutely zero reason that teachers, pink-haired freakazoids, should be teaching our children about their sex lives.
The dissolution of public services, some of our strongest, continues.
Still, this little library might not survive.
Our insurer has decided to non-renew for what they're saying is increased risk exposures. We can't operate without insurance.
Leaving a bigger vacuum ripe for privatization and spreading hateful propaganda. And the worst part? Many well-meaning public servants lose their jobs. Queer people become social pariahs. Anti-racists lose outlets for truth-telling. And children, the potential for positive sea change, can't explore ideas or understand the context of our history. This is a political power move by right-wingers, plain and simple. They're tampering with social democracy, and I don't hear enough interviews with actual school faculty or voices from the Democratic Party debunking this crap and exposing the wannabe fascists for who they really are.